isn't. Well, no, it's not. It's not good morning at all. Oh my gosh! I bet y'all thought I'd forgotten about you. So let me give a real quick explanation as to why the podcast show is late today.
Yeah, tell us.
Tell us, yeah. So we test out every product before we drop it, and last night I tried the new dark matter we're about to drop. This is 3,000 milligrams of Delta 8. So one full dropper is roughly 100 milligrams of Delta 8. And for those that don't know, Delta 8 is the equivalent of what you find in weed. This stuff will get you higher than eagle tits. So I took a full dropper last night. I did it live on stream too. So it took about an hour to hit. But what y'all didn't see was it was hitting while I was doing the stream last night. Once I ended the stream to kind of go relax and enjoy it, then it really fucking hit. And I was just like, holy shit. Like this, it just had me. My alarm went off this morning about like 06. And I kind of woke up and it was just one of those, like when you feel that hangover, there's like, oh, this isn't going to be good. So I opened my eyes, like, oh, I'm still high. Like I am still baked out of my mind. Like this is not good. So I had that, like this anxiety start to kind of slowly hit me. It's like, oh my God, I'm going to be late to work. Oh, wait, never mind. I own it. I'm good. I'll be all right. It'll be good.
How are your dreams?
I honestly didn't dream. I woke up really rested, but I don't think I dreamed. But I know that new duet that Elton John did with Dua Lipa, I think her name is, they did a remake of Rocket Man. And I have not been able to stop listening to this fucking song. It's just like the best song ever. Like it's this one. Let me fast forward it. So that song, I was listening to it on repeat for hours last night because the beat was so amazing and I'm just enjoying it. So it was a great night, and then it's been a great morning. Oh my gosh. It's been crazy. So yeah, great sleep, woke up late, and then I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it in today. And then finally I ate something. It started to wear off a little bit. It's like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah, if you don't eat when you take the Delta 8, especially the edibles.
We see I did, but that's why I think it took so long to kick in. But
yeah. And it's a little bit different, too, with the tincture. Because you take it under your tongue, it absorbs differently there.
That's what she said.
No,
I can't apply it on my face. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for spending your afternoon with us here at the All American Pet Savage Show podcast. I am your host, John Burke, and my beautiful bearded husband, Josh.
Hey.
And for the remainder of this podcast, code TAXTHATBITCH, all one word, TAXTHATBITCH, is going to save you 20% off of our Fallout gummies. 20% off the Fallout gummies for the remainder of this podcast. Again, that code is TAXTHATBITCH. 20% off the Fallout gummies. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great.
Sober? I hope you are. One of us should be.
Yeah.
We have to have one responsible adult.
Yeah, I didn't take the dark matter last night. I've been testing out the other ones. We have these other Delta 8 products coming out, the Asteroids, which are these little candies coated in Delta 8.
I'm going to try those. And those are like, what, 5 to 8 milligrams pop?
I think they're like 10.
Okay. So they're smaller.
Yeah. But it gets you to that place where it's just so relaxing. You feel good.
That's what it was like last night. There was no paranoia. It was a nice chill.
Yeah.
I think at some point I was dancing around my living room. Maybe. I don't know. There's no video proof. Whatever. Not going to get into that. This coming from Breitbart. Let's get right into it. Biden's approval rating tumbles to a personal low of 43%. 43%. The poll was conducted between September 1st and September 17th on the heels of the botched withdrawal from Afghanistan amid a sweeping vaccine mandate that requires employers with over 100 employees to mandate vaccinations. I can't even remember. What was Trump's lowest? Do you remember?
It's hard to trust these polls. It probably was like around 48%.
Was it?
Yeah.
I mean, is Biden lower than Trump?
What does it say? He's 43?
Mm-hmm.
I got to assume it's at least 12 points lower than that.
While 43% of Americans approve of Biden's performance, the majority of 53% of Americans disapprove of the president's job to date. Towards the beginning of the summer, his approval rating hovered around 55% but dropped to 50% in July. Biden's approval rating shows a 7% point difference from the 50% approval rating he garnered in a Fox News poll conducted between September 12th and September 15th. And it's kind of like, yeah, you're right. Like, if Fox is conducting a poll, of course they're going to hate Biden. And if CNN's conducting a poll, of course they're going to love Biden. But again, it's serious when CNN's kind of like, oh yeah, we're not happy with Biden either.
I think you could gauge the pulse of the people just by social media posts. I mean, for the majority, you could see everybody hates him. This guy's a complete loser.
Democrats have been awfully quiet, awfully quiet through this whole ordeal.
Yeah, just maskless at their awards, patting each other on the back.
It's crazy.
Taxing the rich.
Oh, my God. The poll also surveyed Americans on their feelings regarding Vice President Kamala Harris. The Vice President is in deadlock between her approval. Who is that?
Who's the Vice President?
I totally forgot. She's smart though. She's like keeping in the shadows. Like, I don't really want to come out there right now because Biden's like getting fire and brimstone rained on him from the entire fucking world. She's like, I'm just gonna stay back here and watch. To me is
she called him a racist and
I know, yeah.
And then said he probably sexually assaulted all those women.
We did it, Joe.
And then she jumps on the train.
Absolutely. She's going to go where the wind blows. And speaking of blowing, that's how she got there. Right. The vice president is in a deadlock between an approval rating of 49% and a disapproval rating of 49%. 92% of liberal Americans approve of Harris, while she was only secured approval from 6% of conservatives. Independents who approve of Harris registered at 46%. Biden received the same 49% rating as Harris during the same poll. However, Biden's rating it's kind of like, this is Kamala. She was rating it she was polling at 1% during the primary, the Democratic, 1%.
Nobody liked her.
Nobody wanted her. So we know why Joe Biden picked her. So let's stop pretending like she brought any kind of real. I mean, he appointed her in charge of the border crisis. And now I think she's calling for an investigation into the border crisis. Like, that's your border. You're calling for an investigation into yourself? This makes no fucking sense. But Biden's approval rating is tanking even more. We knew this was going to happen. But the only thing I didn't see happening was CNN buying into this as quickly as they have. I did not see CNN actually favoring or being, I shouldn't say on the side of the right on this, but crucify Biden as they've done. I did not see that based upon how bad they were with Trump as far as the halo effect or the negative association bias. I did not see them saying shit about it. And they've actually said a lot of stuff anti-Biden. And I'm like, wow, I'm impressed. I don't like them. I think they're all going to burn in hell either way. And their fucking headquarters is like the devil incarnate's lair. But still,
I think it's more a few years down the road, 5 years down the road, they could say, "Oh no, we were saying that he was a terrible guy all the way back."
Well,
then.
CNN's
and then they just have those sound bites that they can pull back or pull up.
Well,
pull out. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I think CNN said so much stuff already that is there's no way they could take a neutral fence-sitting standpoint. It's like, oh no, we're just here to report journalism. No, the fuck you're not.
No.
No, the fuck you're not.
They're just another wing of the Democratic Party.
So, for those that don't know, right now there is a picture circulating down at the border crisis that Kamala is calling for an investigation. And if you haven't seen this picture circulating, I posted it to my Instagram earlier today. It's a picture of Border Patrol on a horse chasing down a Haitian immigrant. Now, in this picture, it looks as if the Haitian immigrant is being whipped. And that leads to today's segment of You Don't Know Shit About Horses. Get along, little Haitians.
Play the whole thing.
Those are reins. Those are not whips. AOC spoke out against this. Jen Psaki spoke out against this. We are treating them inhumane. We're whipping the Haitians. You literally see the guy reaching over to grab the motherfucker who's running from him, and they're like, oh, they're being whipped. They're not being whipped. Those are reins. But here's the thing. Even if they were, you're crossing the border illegally. You're lucky they don't fucking drag you and hog tie you. Like jump off the horse and drag you to the ground and then hog tie you and then walk away in 3 seconds and doff their cowboy hat.
Which brings us to another point. How did the Haitians get over there from that island?
That's another good question.
Yeah, how?
It's another good question.
How are all these Haitians getting over here?
And this is what Biden talked about before he even get elected president. Is if they're coming, they're coming. And then he gets elected. It's oh, hold on, don't come. So it's which is it? So he's literally he helped create this crisis, and then he eliminates the majority of Trump policies at the border, and then he's sitting there whining and wondering. It's kind of oh, who shit in my pants? You did, Mr. President. This is all your fuck up. Trump was making moves and doing the right thing, and then Biden, for the sake of being anti-Trump, comes in and just undoes everything, and then the whole diaper just falls off full of shit. And it's well, you're at fault, dumbass. Mayorkas reveals that just 3%, and this is even better. Well, let me get to Jen Psaki and what she has to say. I fucking hate this woman. We're getting to her and then Joy Reid, two royal cunts.
I know. Have you ever wanted to punch somebody in the face?
I believe in equality, and I'm to the point I hope somebody busts these people in the fucking face. Saki says Border Patrol agents guilty of brutal and inappropriate behavior. White House Press Secretary Jen Saki on Wednesday slammed what she called brutal and inappropriate behavior by Border Patrol agents seen on horseback blocking migrants from entering the United States. Oh, those horrible human beings protecting our southern border from those that would come over here trafficking drugs, children, sex trafficking. How dare they get up there and put themselves on the line in between you and potential criminals? What is wrong with these people? Oh my God. Like, and this showcases once again how the elites, protected by their walls that live in their bubbles, want to sit there and crucify the common everyday man and woman protecting America here at home, while they're so out of touch with reality, and they're not doing anything about it.
Nothing.
And Biden he's sitting on his hands. Kamala's AWOL, and then Greg Abbott's having to sit there and like do this shit on his own, which he should have been doing from the get-go. But still,
yeah,
it's just one of these things.
It's the federal government's responsibility to stop an invasion into the United States.
That's actually a national security threat.
Right.
Yes.
So it lays on the federal government's hands to go down there and take care of this situation. But I mean, when they fail, you obviously need our local officials to step in and be like, let's protect our people here, because they're bringing drugs and sex trafficking and crime. And it's costing us local people here billions of dollars. Billions.
During her daily press briefing, Saki was asked whether President Biden was living up to his campaign promise of restoring America's moral standing and the world as a safe haven for refugees and asylum seekers. And I love how they like split hairs on like what's an actual refugee and what's an actual asylum seeker. We understand and agree that this has been an incredibly heart-wrenching issue, Saki responded. We've watched the photos of Haitians gathering under a bridge, many with families, and the horrific video of the CBP officers on horses using brutal and inappropriate measures against innocent people. They're not innocent. What are you talking about innocent? These aren't innocent people. They're crossing the border illegally. That makes them criminals. Ergo, they are not innocent.
Did you hear that idiot talking about the people coming over crossing the river? They're just like visiting for.
Yes, yeah, she talked about that. She was saying that they're not here permanently. Like, I'm sure they're going to cross the river and then circle back around later. It's like, shut the fuck up.
Is Peter Doocy the only one asking her questions?
I think Peter Doocy is like he's the Republicans' Jim Acosta right now, and they hate him. And
He's not Jim Acosta. This guy's asking actual questions.
No, I'm saying is like they're going to view him as Trump viewed Jim Acosta. They're going to view him in that manner, which I hope they do.
Yeah.
So now Biden's got his Jim Acosta for the right, and I love it because you're right. He's asking the hard-hitting questions that are legitimate. Costa was like he was an instigator. He
was a total dickhead.
Yeah, he was a total douchebag.
Still is a dickhead.
No, absolutely. She says, Saki was reacting to images of Border Patrol agents in Del Rio. Again, I've posted this to my Instagram page, Sergeant Savage 1776. You can go look at it. It clearly shows he's leaning over to grab the Haitian guy who's running from him.
It's pretty impressive, too.
It's very impressive. I'm sitting there like, damn, God bless Texas.
Cowboy, man.
I'd read a tweet one time that said that Lone Star on the Texas flag is the 1-star Yelp review you'll have as a state. I was like, I gotta laugh at that. That's pretty good. That showed agents on horseback blocking migrants from entering the U.S. In one case, grabbing onto a migrant's shirt. Oh, the inhumanity. Move over. Fucking Saddam Hussein. Step aside, Kim Jong-un. We've got Border Patrol agents grabbing their shirts. Oh, my God. How dare they? It's just, oh, my God. That's the equivalent of the gulag. That's the equivalent of the gulag. Grabbing a migrant's shirt as he runs from you after illegally crossing the border is the same as saying a cop shouldn't do that. It's like, you were being so it was brutality when you grabbed their shirt trying to stop them from running from you. You're lucky you didn't get fucking shot.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. Like, there is no right way to please Democrats. There is no right way. It's impossible. You'll never do it. And you can go out there and put your life on the line, and they will still find something to whine about. Some Democrats and media outlets falsely describe the agents' long reins, which they use to control their horses, as whips. Whips. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Democrat, I'm sure the Crypt Keeper's got something to say, condemned what she described as the inappropriate use of what appears to be whips by Border Patrol agents on horsebacks to intimidate migrants. Those are reins.
In other news, had you not crossed the border illegally,
you wouldn't be in that situation.
You wouldn't even be running.
It's almost weird how that works. Like if you just, you stop fucking up, you won't have these people on your ass. Weird. Homeland Security Agent Alejandro Mayorkas and Border Patrol Chief Raul Ortiz both said on Monday they did not see anything wrong with the images. And Mayorkas, it's because they know what they're looking at. They know what they're seeing, as opposed to like these non-horse experienced types. Like,
I don't even think you have to be an experienced.
Who doesn't know what reins are on a horse? Yeah. Like for those that don't know, that's the steering wheel that drives the horse. The reins, Yeah. Okay. Well,
Did you hold on?
that's literally how you guide them. Yeah. But apparently that's a whip now.
If you don't know what that is, then maybe sit down and don't even talk.
Those damn freaking patrol border agents with their whips and their ghost guns with their 3,000 round clips and
the ghost rounds.
It's just everything they define incorrectly. It's like you're sitting there making this big hoopla about something that isn't what you're claiming it is because you're fucking retarded. That's the reason why.
It's dangerous. These
they're
stupid smart people.
They're whipping the Haitians. They're whipping the Haitians. Oh my God! They're grabbing their shirts. Oh, the inhumanity! The inhumanity! Oh, I was crossing the border, and the big cop grabbed my shirt.
Again, impressive.
You're lucky you don't have a fucking bullet in your head. Jesus.
That is one athletic horse rider there.
Saki insisted Wednesday that it's the Trump administration whose policies were inhumane and immoral. I like how she deflects off of that. Yeah. And that the agents seen in the picture have been taken off the front lines amid an investigation. So you just removed innocent people for doing their job. This is why people don't want to be cops. This is it right here. Exactly why. Why would you? The same to joining the military. Why would you want to serve this administration? I haven't the foggiest idea. So for doing their job, for rounding up Haitian migrants that were running from them after they illegally crossed the border, they have now been placed on investigation. I wish they did have whips so they could see the difference. You would clearly know what an actual whip is and what horse reins are.
Yeah, you know what? Has anybody seen Indiana Jones?
Next time, we're going to send them down there with Nerf guns. That's what it's come down to. Just give them Nerf guns, wiffle ball bats. That's how we're going to round them up. Just get on your horses. They're not even getting horses. They're going to get stick horses now. They're going to be riding the stick horses down through the desert with little wiffle ball bats trying to smack on the Haitians. That's what it comes down to. That you can't do anything else.
I'd like to see water guns.
Yes, but it's got to be like Dasani water. We're not going to do any of that fucking tap water. We're going high
Those
quality.
Water guns are no joke. Like that's what they need.
Oh, you mean like actual? Okay,
yeah,
I thought you meant like little squirt guns.
Oh no,
yeah,
I'm talking about the ones at the water pressure that'll.
It better be Dasani or fucking Saki, and the rest of them be they're gonna be bitching up a storm.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. I would also reiterate that there is an investigation that will be completed by next week, which the secretary confirmed that will determine the next steps on both policy and personnel, she said. And in the interim, those individuals were placed on administrative leave will not be interacting with any migrants. So essentially, you just made it easier on the migrants. Congrats. Yeah. So as it relates to those photos in that horrific video, we're not going to stand for that kind of inhumane treatment. And obviously, we want this investigation to be completed rapidly, she said. I fucking hate these people. I hate them.
How much is that costing us? These investigations?
I'm just at a loss.
I am too.
I mean, it's like that movie, A Few Good Men, when Jack Nicholson's literally saying, like, you need me like men on that wall. You need me. You need men. And that's when you know you've hit a certain like growing point, when you can go back and look at that video and realize that Jack Nicholson was actually the good guy. Tom Cruise is actually the bad guy. Like, because when you grow up, it's like, yeah, Tom Cruise did what was right. And then you get experience in the real world, like, oh, no, actually, Nicholson was right. Like, besides the code red, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about how you handle business on that wall.
Yeah.
Like, don't sit there and demand protection and then sit there and tell the freaking protectors how to do their job when you're not willing to do it yourself.
Yeah.
That's just mind-boggling to me. DHS confirms Haitian migrants released into U.S. despite Mayorkas' claim that your journey will not succeed. Some Haitian migrants are released into the... And yeah, I'm like you. Where are they coming from? Like, that's a long-ass trip.
Yeah.
That is a long-ass trip.
They get on a cruise ship, going over to South America, trekking across.
I'm looking at the photos. This isn't like one or two. There are thousands upon thousands.
I think it said like upwards of 14,000 now.
Jesus.
It's got to be more than that.
Land of the free. America's so horrible. We got the Haitians coming over now.
They
such
totally
a horrible
turned that
country. Oh my gosh. How do the women, how do the feminists, how do they live with themselves?
Where do they go to the bathroom?
Oh my God. It's just the worst country match where we have 14,000 Haitians braving the oceans and across different countries to come here because it sucks so bad. Oh my God. Some Haitian migrants are released into the U.S. with either a notice to appear in court or a notice to report to an ICE official.
Okay.
Like, hey, I know you stole that PlayStation 5 out of Best Buy, so in 3 months, you better bring that PlayStation back to your court-ordered appearance. And if you don't show up, well, we're not going to go looking for you, but, Yeah. What?
Here, Mr. Dahmer, would you come back in a couple of weeks? We have some questions for you.
Oh, my God. The Department of Homeland Security on Wednesday confirmed that some Haitian migrants are being released into the interior of the United States. Why some? Why some? That's the question. I was like, why not none or all? Why some?
I don't know.
What's the criteria for letting them through versus not letting them through?
The asylum seekers?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question. Maybe we could find somebody that could answer that for us.
If you have an answer to that question, ladies and gentlemen, DM me on my Instagram at @thejohnburke. If you're a Border Patrol agent that's working down there, shoot me an answer to that question, please. Why are they releasing some Haitians and not all of them, or none of them altogether, if you could?
And
you'll be kept anonymous, I promise. You'll be kept anonymous. I never reveal my sources.
Aren't they mostly young males who are coming across, too?
I'm looking at the photos, and what it looks like, it's... Yeah.
It's like these young men who
I'm not even seeing... I'm seeing younger to middle-aged.
Young men?
Mm-hmm. In response to the surge in Haitian migrants, which has seen more than 14,000 migrants camped under the bridge in Del Rio, with reports of tens of thousands more on the way, DHS has emphasized that migrants are being removed on removal flights under Title 42 public health protections. DHS has ramped up deportation flights to Haiti. You
know how Trump called Mexico up and said, hey...
You're paying for this.
You're paying for this, and they stopped it.
Mm-hmm. It's the Stay in Mexico policy.
Yeah.
And then I think Biden just redid it and like put it back into effect.
As soon as they get into Mexico, they can seek asylum. You can't keep jumping across countries to get to the country that you want to seek asylum.
How much money do you think they're spending on flights back to Haiti? Like one flight back to Haiti.
Everything is billions. It's not even millions anymore. It went from like nickel and diming us to dollar billing.
This is so confusing to me. Like, why are we putting them back on flights? Instead, it's like, do it about face and go back to where you came from.
I'm still pissed off about the $6 trillion.
Athena doesn't like it either. No, Athena's going to grab her whip. DHS continues to expel migrants under CDC's Title 42 authority, a spokesperson said. Those who cannot be expelled under Title 42 do not have a legal wait, hold on. DHS continues to expel migrants under CDC's Title 42 authority, a spokesperson said. Those who cannot be expelled under Title 42 and do not have a legal basis to remain are placed in expedited or full removal proceedings. So I'm guessing that means that they actually have a determining factor between who is a legitimate asylum seeker and who's not.
I mean...
Unless you have, like, documentation to support that. Like, how would they know Peter from Paul?
I don't know. It has to be some sort of an interview process, I'd imagine. I don't know.
I'm confused on that one. Title 42 was introduced under the Trump administration in response to the COVID-19 pandemic and allows for the rapid removal of migrants. However, the Biden administration has only been applying the order to single adults and to some migrant families, with about 19% of the families removed via the order in August. Unaccompanied minors are not being removed via Title 42 and are instead processed into the U.S. into the custody of sponsors. Again, all you're doing with this type of policy is incentivizing them to bring their children over anyway.
Yeah.
If I know I can't make it, but I can give my child a better life, then I'm going to bring my child.
Even still, you don't know if those children...
And again, that polling number was actually true. Like 74% of women that are transported across that border through coyotes are raped. It's like 74%. That includes children as well. It's nuts. So people saying that like they're seeking a better life, like you have a very high probability of being raped if you're a female. On Monday, in relation to the Haitian surge, Mayorkas had a stern warning for migrants who were thinking they could be able to get into the U.S. If you come to the United States illegally, you will be returned. Well, clearly not. You're saying one thing and then doing another. Your journey will not succeed and you will be endangering your life and your family's lives, Mayorkas said. This administration is committed to developing safe and orderly and humane pathways for migration. This is not the way to do it. When you say one thing and you do another, they're not going to take you seriously. And as far as like them jeopardizing their life, that's why they're making that journey. That's not going to act as a good deterrent. Their life was shit in Haiti. Their life was shit in South America or Mexico, wherever they're coming from. Therefore, they came over for a reason. So using that saying, you could die, it's like, yep, I probably have a better chance dying over there, so I'll take the risk. That's not a good deterrent. That's really not.
Could thank the Clintons for that one.
A good Haitian foundation. However, the Associated Press reported that some of the Haitians who had surged the border at Del Rio were being released into the interior rather than expelled. A DHS spokesperson told Fox that those who were not being removed are either placed in alternative to detention, detained in an ICE facility, or released into the U.S. with either a notice to appear in court or a notice to report to an ICE office. They're just legitimately letting them in. They're literally just letting them in.
No COVID check.
Nothing.
That's what she said. She said
no mandated COVID vaccine. Nothing.
They're just.
But your children do. They have to wear masks.
Not my kids.
Well, put it this way. Hey, if you don't want your child to have to wear a mask, send them to the Emmys. They'll be okay. No masks there. The document individual receives is dependent on facility space and resources available to process, the spokesperson said. The DHS statement noted that Border Patrol will collect information such as fingerprints, phone numbers, and address while also running background checks. Meanwhile, Border Patrol sources told Fox News that migrants are mostly being released with the notice to report to an ICE office rather than the notice to appear. The preference for the NTRs, which just takes 20 minutes rather than the NTAs, which take more than an hour, have been preferred during the migrant crisis along the southern border as it allows migrants to be processed quicker. You are literally getting processed in 20 minutes. An illegal is being processed in 20 minutes and then released potentially? Again, what message does this send to those that are doing it the right way? Why on earth would I ever want to immigrate to America legally when I can literally just cross the border and be processed in 20 minutes and released back into the population, society, whatever you want to call it?
It's really a slap in the face to all of us.
Jesus Christ.
Like immigrants who are coming over legally.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then, you always have these stupid fucking Zoomer liberals on Twitter and stuff like that would tweet me out. I was like, you talk about fucking immigrants and stuff. Well, what about the Native Americans? You're technically an immigrant. And it's like, where do you think the Native Americans came from? And they never answer that. And it's like, you do realize like they weren't like here originally. They migrated just like everybody else.
Yeah.
It's just they got beat. I'm sorry that your indigenous population got beat and it sucked with technology. By the way, that's part of my history. I'm part Seminole. But guess what? White man had gunpowder. They didn't. I don't know what you want me to say to that. That's just the way the world works. So be grateful that, it did happen because we have technology. We have the best medicine. We have great things over here. If it didn't, we'd probably be staring at the sun still like, I don't know, smoking peyote and eating cow shit. I have no idea. Still. I mean, come on. Good grief.
Well, my great-grandparents came over from Sicily, and they put their name in the Ellis Island book.
Yeah.
I've actually seen it. So, I mean, do the right thing.
People are just, well, the Native Americans also, many Native tribes are actually cannibalistic and raped women, stole children for slaves. But no, that never makes press in Hollywood. So this great group of people that you want to characterize as being like the most noblest, no, a lot of them were just horrible according to today's standards. But I'm not blaming them for that because that's just how it was back then. Like they were some murderous motherfuckers. That's just how they were. But at the same token, we look at the Spartans like, oh, we glorify them. Like the Spartans were some murdering motherfuckers. They were amazing at their jobs, and I'm not knocking. That's just the way it was back then. So when people want to sit there and say, you came over and you murdered the Indians, so did the French, so did the Spanish. I mean, the list just goes on and on as far as like world violence. So again, these Zoomers and these people living in these fucking bubbles of safeness, they're just kind of like, oh my God, shut the fuck up. Take this blanket and wrap it around yourself and shut the fuck up. Mayorkas reveals just 3% of Afghan evacuees had special immigrant visas. Whew. Again, 3% of Afghan evacuees had special immigrant visas. So who are we bringing over? DHS Secretary also said that about 7% of those evacuations from Afghanistan were American citizens. Department of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas revealed, like he's in the news a lot, like he's under the magnifying glass, revealed that only 3% of over the 60,000 Afghan evacuees brought. I thought Biden said that it was like over 100,000. Didn't he do the press briefing and say it was over 120,000?
Yeah.
That were evacuated? So This guy's saying 60,000.
But even still, it wasn't the United States. It was these other countries.
So I'm wondering if he means just 60,000 were brought to America versus the remainder that were brought to other countries?
I don't.
Because I know we had allies helping us out.
It's so hard to understand what he's trying to say.
Again, this goes back to 60,000 Afghan evacuees brought to the United States following the end of the war in Afghanistan have been special immigrant visa recipients. Approximately 6% have been lawful permanent residents. Approximately 3% have been individuals who are in receipt of the special immigrant visas, Mayorkas said during the congressional testimony Tuesday. Mayorkas also said that about 7% of those evacuated from Afghanistan were American citizens, while also noting that some of those who were not SIV holders could qualify for the visa but have yet to apply. Typical SIV holders are those who worked for American military as interpreters during the 20-year U.S. war and the country, placing them in danger of retribution from the Taliban, which we knew this. Roughly 18 to 20,000 Afghans who worked in the U.S. military during the war have applied for the visas in a notoriously slow process. Well, again, here's what you do. Go to the southern border, and they'll process you in 20 minutes. I mean,
that's all you need.
Our allies that fought with us in Afghanistan, that legitimately put their lives and their families' lives in danger, That's going slow, but if you cross the southern border as an illegal, you can get processed in 20 fucking minutes.
Yeah, good luck.
What the fuck?
Biden gave him everybody's name that's over there.
Yeah.
Gave them their fingerprints, all their information.
It's crazy to me. The comments came on the same day Mayorkas had a heated exchange with Senator Ron Johnson over the situation at the southern border. Of the 1.3 million people that we've apprehended, how many have been returned? How many people are being detained? And how many people have been dispersed? And I want some numbers here, Johnson asked Mayorkas while pressing him on whether the administration has an open border policy. Senator, I would be pleased to provide you with the data, Mayorkas replied before being cut off by Johnson. He said, I want them now. Johnson shot back. Why don't we have that information now? Senator, I do not have that data before me, Mayorkas said. Why not? Why don't you have that? Why do you not have the basic information? Senator responded. Senator, I want to be accurate, Mayorkas said. It's just back and forth exchange. So clearly Mayorkas does not have the information that he needs. I mean, if you're going to go before a panel.
He doesn't. He's a liar.
You should probably have that kind of information readily available because you know they're going to ask that question.
Those guys are professional liars.
That's nuts to me.
They say the same answer for every
3%,
question.
3% of the people that we brought over actually had the proper paperwork.
Any yes or no question that they give these people, it's always
I wonder what kind of vetting
a hard
process.
deflection.
Like I would honestly like to know what kind of vetting process occurred over there because they even talked about the one rapist made it over to America before they caught him. So it's like, well, clearly he didn't register when you were doing your processing over there, meaning he slept through the cracks. So something's going on over there that would allow him to make it over to here. So I'm not like trying to, I don't know. For me, it's like I feel like this was so rushed. They probably didn't have a good system in place how to accurately do this. And instead they just said, just push him through. Just push him through. We'll deal with it on the backside.
Just he's a rapist. You're good. You're good. You're good.
You're good. I have women and children. The economy, Señor Coyote. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's nuts to me. White House opposes NDAA provision banning dishonorable discharge for COVID-19 vaccine refusals. This is coming from the military. Bill would prohibit service members from receiving a dishonorable discharge for refusing vaccines. Now, don't get your hopes up. This still has to be, we got a long way to go on this one. The White House said it strongly opposes a provision in the 2022 defense spending bill that would block the Pentagon from dishonorably discharging a service member who refuses to get the COVID-19 vaccine. Well, of course the White House doesn't want to back this. A section in the House version of the National Defense Authorization Act would limit military commanders' options for disciplining those who fail to comply with the vaccination mandate, the White House Office of the Management and Budget said in a statement of the administration policy Wednesday. Section 716 of the NDAA would prohibit service members who are discharged over vaccine refusals from receiving anything than an honorable discharge. Now, that I agree with. If they want to kick people out for refusing the vaccine, it needs to be an honorable discharge. You give them that option, not a dishonorable discharge. I think that's a fair option right there. Noting that many Americans have reservations about taking a vaccine that has only been available for less than a year. The Pentagon has described the vaccine mandates as a lawful order that must be obeyed. Horseshit. Horseshit.
I don't know. I don't think they should have to take the vaccine.
Nope.
It shouldn't be a choice.
If they want
they should be able to stay in the military.
Grandfather them in.
Yeah.
In my mind, it's like, okay, well, this vaccine's supposedly supposed to help do all these things, yet it's not. Yeah. It's clearly not. So if you're wanting to vaccine your force to ensure they're the safest fighting force imaginable, but this vaccine has been out for less than a year, it's not an actual vaccine, there's no long-term effects, you would think the exact opposite. Like you are potentially jeopardizing your fighting force by having them trying an experimental gene-altering, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I would say...
they should be the last ones to test
I'm not for it at all.
Yeah, I'm not either.
They shouldn't have to do anything.
But if you wanted to say that, like, hey, this is the new standard that you have to have this vaccine...
before you sign...
Exactly.
Sure.
Exactly.
But anybody that's in there now, like, you hear some of these people that have, 18 months left.
And of course, you have people like, well, what about those other vaccines you took so quickly? Well, they've been tested for long periods of time.
Yeah.
And also, by the way, we have, like, many things the government's fucked up on, especially the VA in the past, where it's like people don't trust the government.
And you see these Project Veritas videos coming out?
Oh, so for part one that don't know, Project Veritas dropped their video. It was literally a federal aid worker or a federal hospital worker talking to some people, and they, the doctor was like trying to defend the vaccine. There was another nurse that was saying this vaccine is bullshit. But apparently part two is inside the FCC. They have video footage and emissions from inside the FCC. Within James O'Keefe posting that video, within 2 hours, Instagram and Facebook have both banned it. Now it's on, I think it's on Rumble. I saw it on some Telegram chat rooms. It's out there.
Yeah.
Like there's other ways. So it's gotten to the point now where they're not going to stop the spread of this information. They're not. They can't. They cannot censor every single channel out there. And that's why it's crucial that these other platforms that are doing their best to just combat the censorship, that's where all the stuff, FDA, thank you, Sarah Maggs, FDA, not FCC, my bad. FDA, apologies. But that's why it's so important that a lot of these platforms exist, because now like Rumble, it's like, okay, hey, by the way, if Instagram and Facebook are censoring it, Rumble will host it. You can post it over there. They'll let you 100%. Get away with it. Yeah, absolutely.
Rumble, BitChute, there's other ones out there too.
They will get the information out there. But so I don't know when part 2 drops, but apparently, like, thank you for the correction. It's somebody within the FDA from what they're saying is video footage and admissions that the vaccines don't work from within the FDA.
And why the hell are they so opposed to using therapeutics like ivermectin, like
money,
money, the monoclonal antibodies?
Yeah. Money. So everything boils down to big pharma just making more and more and more and more. Like, I was actually really pleased that, like, Tulsi Gabbard, she follows me on Instagram, and we've been talking about trying to get her on the show. But even she'd agree with the post that I've made, that as far as like why they're trying to censor and stifle a lot of what good that these other drugs can do that are not like the addictive opioids. We talked about CBD, we talked about Delta 8, things like that. And she even agreed with me on that, which I was really happy to see that. But it's one of these things of like they were stifling this information getting out there. That's why Facebook and the rest of them ban anything CBD related, Delta 8. They won't let you sell it. But meanwhile, these opioids that are doing way more fucking damage to your liver, highly addictive substances, they encourage this. Big pharma is wanting to make more and more money, and I think this vaccine is literally no different.
Which is a good segue to our...
Fallout Gummies 20%.
Our Fallout Gummies that are 20% off.
Using code TAXTHATBITCH, you can get 20% off the Fallout Gummies. These are CBD gummies. Yes, they will help you calm, relax. They deal with stress and anxiety. Yeah. They are fucking amazing. 20% off using code TAXTHATBITCH. Good segue. Good segue.
Now, we're blowing out these 15 milligram Fallout Gummies.
This is the last of 15 milligrams, because we're upping it up to what, 25?
25 milligrams.
25 milligrams.
Are going forward. So it didn't make sense for us to keep manufacturing a 15 milligram gummy. So we upped it 10 milligrams. Yep. So these are still great gummies. You're going to get them at a
even
great
price. Yeah. It's all one word, tax that bitch. And you can get 20% off the Fallout Gummies on shellshockcbd.com.
While supplies
last. We're burning through these. And also, Tipsies & Co., 50% off of everything over there as well. We're liquidating a lot of these products. I discussed it in yesterday's evening show of me on Delta 8. I was showing how good Delta 8 is. The White House in its statement said that the section creates a new and overly broad exemption from the vaccine requirements for previous infection that would undermine the effectiveness of the requirement. The department will make available a full range of resources to service members, including individual and professional medical advice, to demonstrate the safety and effectiveness of COVID-19 vaccine. And okay, so here's the thing. Nobody believes you because you've censored so much on social media. The fact that you censor so much means people don't trust you. When you try and silence your opposition and then you accuse them of spreading medical misinformation when other doctors are coming out saying actually they're wrong, when you silence them, you're only creating more distrust. So no, you can sit there and say that you can prove all these things. I think the system's rigged. I do. Like I don't agree with that. But in my opinion, it's that if you want to get the vaccine, go get it. It's completely up to you.
Yeah.
Just stop trying to force it on other people. The COVID-19 vaccine is one of the more than a dozen vaccines required for service members. The back and forth comes after the Pentagon announced last month that members of the U.S. military would be required to get the COVID-19 vaccine beginning in September. Pentagon officials at the time said the vaccine is a necessary step to maintain military readiness. No, it's not. No, it's not. You've got more people dying from soldier suicide in the Army than you have COVID. Stop. Stop with this misinformation. Stop with this false painting of this issue that does not exist to that extent. This is not true. COVID deaths in the military are dwarf in comparison to those that are like soldier suicide in the Army alone. You can look up these stats. It's true. Biden also signed an order requiring private companies with 100 more employees. You can go suck a dick. That's not going to happen. We're not complying. Other companies are not complying. Yada, 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 yada. Joy Reid back in the news.
Oh, God.
This one is just, it's astounding to me. So I haven't covered this case because I'm not really interested in this. The Joy Reid calls out the missing white woman syndrome. The Gabby Petito case. Now, for those that don't know, it was a girl and her boyfriend, I guess, were touring some mountains areas. They're vloggers, I guess. I guess she has a large YouTube following. She's been missing. Apparently, they found her body. She's been murdered. The boyfriend is AWOL. They can't find him. There's a whole big deal with this, okay? And in my mind, I'm like, okay, this isn't anything new or extraordinary. It's a missing woman's case, and we all kind of knew what was going to happen. God bless her family. I know that's got to be difficult.
Terrible.
But it's not one of those things that I paid a lot of attention to because I think in the grand scheme of things, it's a missing woman. And Joy Reid felt like that wasn't enough. And she comes out and says, the Petito family certainly deserves answers and justice, Reid acknowledged while decrying the inconsistent media coverage. On Monday's airing of The Readout, host Joy Reid addressed the massive media coverage surrounding Gabby. Well, I'm going to say the reason why she has a large following. There was a lot of people because she's got a massively large following.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people started asking questions versus somebody that has no following. We'll have one or two people asking questions. When more people have eyes on it, it starts to trend and things such as that. And here we have it right now. So on Monday's airing of The Readout, host Joy Reid addresses the massive media coverage surrounding Gabby Petito, the young New York woman found dead in Wyoming after going missing earlier this month while on a road trip from Florida with her fiancé. Remains found in Wyoming's Grand Teton National Park were confirmed as Petito on Tuesday. Her boyfriend, Brian Laundrie, who has been named as a person of interest in her disappearance and apparent death, went missing after refusing to speak with investigators. And here's where she goes. The way the story captivated the nation, Reid told her viewers, has many wondering why not the same media attention when people of color go missing. Well, the answer actually has a name, missing white woman syndrome. What a piece of shit. What a piece of shit.
Total a-hole.
Are you seriously trying to make this about you during somebody else's grief?
The most racist woman on television right now.
How the fuck has she not been canceled?
Her ratings, she's like last. She's got like a primetime spot. Was she on MSNBC?
Yeah, MSNBC. Like, she's clearly a black supremacist.
Like a primetime slot.
This is nuts
and ranks
to me.
last. There's someone on Fox News that has a show at midnight that's just a little bit behind what her ratings are. Like,
missing white woman syndrome, the term coined by the late and great.
Such a total asshole.
She's a cunt.
Total asshole.
Coined by the late and great Gwen Ifill to describe the media and public fascination with missing white women like Lacey Peterson or Natalie Holloway while ignoring cases involving people of color. While noticing the inconsistencies in the media's coverage of America's Gone Missing, Reid acknowledged the sadness of the Petito case. It goes without saying that no family should ever endure that type of pain, she said, and the Petito family certainly deserves answers and justice. I mean, that's interesting to me. So my question is, number one, why doesn't Joy do it? Why aren't you bringing up these? You sit there and you decry like, oh, there's no coverage. When was the last time she covered it? She could have taken that opportunity to do just that, and she didn't.
Why didn't she cover any of the shootings that go down in Chicago
so
that
there's
involve
the other
black
reason.
people?
So Matt
Not
Walsh,
that it matters what color they are.
Matt Walsh over the Daily Wire slammed back hard and said because the majority of the women that go missing that are reported by women of color are by men of color, and you don't want to talk about that. It's legit. Like statistics there. Look, it's hard. Let me see if I can find this again. This is on Amory's page, and then Matt Walsh tweeted it, and it just he slams her. He slams her fucking hard, and justifiably so too. Where's it at? Let me find this. I love Amory. Amory's he's hot on all this stuff. So Matt Walsh tweets out, says, Joy Reid has a point. Brittany Hill was murdered by Chicago gang members while holding her daughter, all caught on tape. Mm-hmm. Joy Reid and the left-wing media ignored the case completely. Ask yourself why. Then you'll understand missing white woman syndrome. And he goes on, if you need help, here. The media ignores the Brittany Hills of the world because they don't want to talk about the perpetrators in the cases. That's why. Mystery solved. And he says, black women are mostly murdered by black men. Joy Reid doesn't want to have that conversation, which is why she ignores the very cases she accuses everyone else of ignoring. White women are mostly murdered by white men, and that makes the cases safer and more politically useful. And he's 100% right. Because if you start doing that and you start bringing up that you have to paint a lot of blame or put a lot of blame on black people, she's not going to touch that. Absolutely not. We talked about like when Ben Shapiro debated the BLM and talked about that. It was like the overwhelming majority of violent homicides in America are done by the black community. But why isn't Joy Reid bringing light to that? Because if it's the most dangerous threat out there.
Doesn't she bring that up?
Of course, she's not going to. She's not going to, gang. She's not going to happen. Because, facts over feelings, gangs. But he's right, 100% right. Yeah. Like, you don't want to talk about a lot of these cases because the perpetrators are of your color, and that's going to make you look bad. So it's easy to sit there and say, what about us? What about them? Why aren't you covering it, Joy? You have the opportunity. You have the platform. And the very same breath that you're sitting there, demonizing all these other media platforms, you could have made the change, and you didn't. But instead, you just want to cry about it. That's all it is. And this isn't the first time. That's all she does. And then you go look at her Instagram. Okay, we'll make some changes, Joy. You go look at her Instagram, and all she's talking about what her looks are. I'm doing my fall look. Well, then you must not really give a shit, Joy. Let's stop fucking pretending like you actually give a shit. You're just sitting there beating your feet and beating your hands and stamping and screaming bloody murder. But if it was really that important to you, you'd actually be doing it and making a change. So stop sitting there and telling me that, oh my God, we don't get enough attention. Okay, well then change it. Well then you don't? Oh, okay, because you don't really care. Stop pretending like you do. You don't. It's ridiculous. This fucking cunt is one of the most racist motherfuckers I've ever seen.
She's just a total asshole.
Total bitch. Black Lives Matter. They're just fucking doing great things out there. For those that, when this first hit, there was no video, but then the video surfaced. But this is the title of the article. Black Lives Matter holds cancel car means protest in New York City. Protesters also rallied against COVID-19 vaccine passports, which they say disproportionately affects black people. Black Lives Matter protests gathered at Carmeens in New York City on Monday to accuse the Italian restaurant of racism following a recent altercation between a hostess and 3 black female tourists. Now, when that story broke, it was all just word of mouth. When you see the video, Amory's got a post on his page. These 3 black women assault an Asian woman. They assault her. You see it clear as day. They literally assault this woman.
I haven't seen the video.
Oh, Amory's got on his page. You can see they're being told to leave, and essentially they walk up behind the Asian waitress and they just start like assaulting her.
So they were told to leave because they didn't have a.
I think it's because of the mask thing. I'm not sure.
They weren't wearing a mask.
Let me hold on before I comment on that because I'm not 100% certain. Chance, fuck you, Carmeens, and Carmeens are all racist. Erupted outside the establishment on Upper Wednesday. Blah, blah, blah. Yes. Keaton Nagin Rankin, Tiani Keshi Rankin, and Sally Rochelle Lewis allegedly assaulted a Carmeens 24-year-old hostess last Thursday when she asked to see their COVID-19 vaccination cards. The 3 were arrested following the incident and charged with assault and criminal mischief, and justifiably so. Now, here's the deal. I don't agree with the vaccine passports. I think it's bullshit.
I don't either.
I think it's bullshit.
I've been asked to leave places because I wouldn't wear a mask. Mm-hmm. I didn't slap anybody.
So if you go on Amory King's Instagram page, the video is there, and you can see these 3 women ganging up on this 24-year-old Asian waitress. So Democrats, here's the hard part for you, okay? Which one are you picking now? Are we picking Black Lives Matter or Stop Asian Hate? Which one is it? Like you don't know which way to go on this one now. You're like, oh fuck, I don't know which way to go. Like, is it Stop Asian Hate or do Black Lives Matter? Because you don't know which one to go through on this one. Like, I love this. This is like the Kobayashi Maru. There is no right answer. You're not getting out of this one alive.
Is like the 2 Spider-Men?
Yeah, it's like the 3 Spider-Men like pointing at each other. It's like, you're the real racist. Yeah. So the BLM, I guess, organizes this protest, and they're protesting saying they're racist. It's because the 3 women that went there together all happen to be black and all did not have vaccine passports or whatever. Again, I don't agree with that. But the business kicks them out saying, if you don't have your vaccination, you can't be in here. And so they ask them to leave, and then they assault the woman. She gets arrested. That's not racism. Now, if they're only kicking out black people, then yes, I could see that you'd have justification for saying, oh, it's racist. But, I mean, when you have this one case just because they're black, I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's...
Well, they were all black. Well, they were all black and came in together. I mean, yes. Now you got to pick like 1 or 2 of them. It's like, okay, you can stay just because we don't want people to think that we're racist. This is ridiculous to me.
Yeah, it's stupid.
So now you get the BLM out there protesting, trying to shut the restaurant down. Chants of "fuck you, Carmeens" and "Carmeens are racist" erupted outside the establishment on Upper West Side, which made headlines when a hostess was assaulted last Thursday. You gotta love seeing this. Like, the BLM is so bass backwards, they don't know what the fuck they're protesting anymore. Like,
I did see the protest where the one dude started off with a megaphone.
Yeah, and like trying to yank it from
the short little woman. She's like, "Give me that megaphone."
Yeah,
she took it and started yelling into it.
They're racist.
Like, okay.
Justin Moore, who's legally represented one of the 3 women, told the New York Times that the hostess used a racial slur and was condescending them while suggesting, "I'm sure they did." Sure. Yes, I'm sure. Sure. The demonstrator again.
Juicy small A.
And then when they were done, they said, "This is MAGA country."
And they said,
and then when they kicked him out, she said, "Oh, this is a MAGA country."
Threw some bleach on him on the way out.
They were just trying to go out there, get some egg drop soup, and sure as shit, they come out and said, this Asian person had like some nunchucks and a noose and said, "This is MAGA country."
Put on
sure
a MAGA
they
hat.
did. Sure they did. I'm sure these. Oh my God. The demonstrators also rallied against COVID-19 passports, which they claimed will disproportionately affect black people. So the only reason that you give a shit about this is because it affects you more than anybody else. It's not the fact that it's just wrong. It's because it impacts you more than wow. Okay. That you're in it for yourself, and then don't be surprised when you want to isolate yourself, you get treated like an isolationist. That's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. This vaccine card mandate to create more Sandra Blands and more Breonna Taylors. It ends here. What? Are we just like pulling shit out of our ass now and then using names of supposed martyrs to like justify our cause?
Yep.
Oh my God. If we do these vaccine passports, it means Japan's going to attack Pearl Harbor again. Like, what does one have to do with the other?
Nothing.
Not a goddamn thing. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Nothing at all.
The BLM at this point is like a bunch of children just rallying the rally. It's like, we're here to protest. You're racist. You're racist. It's like, why are we even here? It's like, I don't know. We just want to protest something.
I don't know. I always learned that you judge people by the content of their character.
No, it's the color of their skin. Pfft, duh.
Said by a man who just so happened to be black.
Hawk Newsom, the founder of the BLM Greater New York chapter, said, "Listen, vaccine is a choice. It's a choice. You shouldn't exclude people from everyday activities because they choose not to engage in something they have every reason to doubt." I don't disagree with that. I think it's 100% right. But to tie it into the whole thing as far as like how that Carmine's Italian restaurant is racist for kicking 3 black people out that didn't have a vaccine passport, I don't see the racism there.
No, I think they're douchebags because they asked for vaccine cards.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that goes up the chain of command on that one. Carmeans is denied wrongdoing, telling Fox News on Monday, "Last week's violence against our staff had nothing to do with a race, despite a Texas criminal defense lawyer's false assertions to the contrary. The 3 of our hosts, who are respectively black, Latinx, I'm not even called, it's Latin.
What is Latinx?
It's like the Zoomer term for fucking Latino. It's the stupidest fucking thing. Every Latin person knows I'm not saying that shit. That's cringe as fuck.
What?
Yeah. 3 of our hosts who are respectively black, Latin, and Asian American women did their best to welcome a large party while enforcing New York's vaccine requirement for indoor dining. We require that every guest show evidence of vaccination to eat inside. Unfortunately, some male members of the party were unable to provide vaccination proof and so could not enter the restaurant. 3 female guests in the party who had shown proof of vaccination and been welcomed to the restaurant without issue then launched an entirely unprovoked brutal attack on our hosts, one of whom continues to suffer from a concussion." Oh, so it wasn't the 3 women. The 3 women had their passports, but it was the males that didn't, so they weren't allowed in. So explain to me how that's racist then if they say that, oh, well, the 3 that do have cards can come in, the rest that don't can't come in. How is that racist? Explain to me how they would let some black people in but not all. That's not racist.
Are you sure?
That's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. Well, according to them it is.
Well, it sounds racist. When you say it like that, it sounds racist.
None of the attackers offered any reason for their attack. None of the hosts, all of whom are people of color, uttered a racial slur, the statement continued. None of the attackers mentioned anything about race to our managers, staff, or the police who arrested them, and the Texas criminal defense lawyer's false assertion otherwise is a deeply cynical ploy to try and excuse wanton violence. I 100% believe that. I 100% believe that, because when you don't get your own way in the BLM, you just got to say that's racist. If you're a black liberal, all you have to do is say that's racist, and then other people just bend the knee automatically. Welcome now to the age where people don't fucking believe you anymore.
No,
because every single story, like Jussie Smollett and the rest of them, and these fucking idiots, all you do is undermine your whole movement, and I'm here for it. I'm here to see it, because all of your protests have been over bullshit. They didn't kick you out because you're black. They kicked you out because you didn't have vaccine passports, which I still think is bullshit.
It's total bullshit.
Yeah, but you can't sit there to cry racism.
Shoulder to shoulder with you on that one. If you're saying this is bullshit, they won't let me in because I don't have a vaccine passport. Then fight it together. I agree.
But it doesn't give you a right to assault a hostess that had nothing to do with it, saying like I'm just enforcing the rules.
Yeah,
which I think is bullshit. I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
but to sit there, and of course, it's racist. This is just the dumbest shit. And then the BLM goes out there like, this is real. Shut the fuck up. Okay, sure it is. Okay, whatever. Nobody believes you anymore. Mm-hmm. How oppressed they must be.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Well, this isn't surprising. George W. Bush to hold fundraiser for Liz Cheney, a top Trump target. That's right. G-Dub's out here going to be representing the great Liz Cheney.
I can't imagine that guy's opinion carries any sort of weight with anybody.
He's out of the GOP. Like I can't.
No.
And for those who don't remember, Liz Cheney was a representative that voted in favor of the impeachment of Trump over the January 6th riots. She clearly crossed the side on that. Like I'm just Former President George W. Bush will hold a fundraiser next month for the embattled Representative Liz Cheney, representative of Wyoming, whose criticisms of former President Donald Trump have put her political career in jeopardy. Jeopardy? It's fucking over.
Oh, totally.
And the fact that you got Bush, like Warhawk Bush, like coming for and helping you, it's like,
might as well be running as a Democrat at this point.
Pretty much. It's like, Bush was like, hey, I'm here to help you. I've got some fuel for this fire that's burning down your house. That should do a good deal.
Bush. I mean, they should change all the R's next to their name to D's.
Pretty much. What a crazy time we live in. Like, what was once Republican is now clearly turned Democrat.
Yeah.
The Wall Street Journal reported Wednesday that Bush's first campaign event of the 2022 midterms will be in support of Cheney. Her father, Dick Cheney, served 2 terms as Bush's... Oh, there you go.
Dick.
The fundraiser will take place in Dallas on October 18th. We should go to that.
I was just thinking the same thing. Yeah.
We should go to that. His support of Cheney's puts Bush at odds with... Why is it in Dallas?
Not doing
She's
that.
Because... I know Bush is here.
Yeah, Bush lives here.
But why wouldn't he do it where she lives?
Probably because he lives here.
Huh.
He's too old.
That's weird. His support of Cheney puts Bush at odds with Trump and his allies who have targeted Cheney since she voted for his impeachment after the violence at the Capitol on January 6th. Cheney has also been outspoken and pushing back against Trump's claims that the 2020 election was stolen, repeatedly rebutting the former president's baseless conspiracy theories. A Yahoo News poll in August found that 2/3 of Republicans still believe the election was rigged. Earlier this month, Trump formally announced his endorsement of Wyoming attorney Harriet Hageman in her primary bid against Cheney. Hageman also unsuccessfully ran for Republican nomination for governor in 2018. Well, now she got Trump's backing.
You know, that's a huge number, 2/3.
Mm-hmm. It is.
I mean, that's unbelievable that it's 2/3. I think it's probably more than that.
Oh, 100%, yeah. Well, I mean, like we talked about before, like the Arizona audits, like we're still waiting for those to be released.
Yeah. Still waiting for all that stuff. Looks like in Pennsylvania they're trying to push some new election reform over there as well.
More and more states are going to start doing it. They're going to have to do it.
Have to. 2/3? Damn.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that does it for today's episode, today's show. We will be live hopefully again tomorrow at 10 a.m. CST. Now, we're going to do a special thing on this Friday, a special episode. It's going to be like a sex episode. That's right. We're answering the freaky questions. Those questions are going to be posted on my Instagram to where you can ask your questions for the show, and we will address them. Or you can write in at the link where you can want to write into the show. Write your questions, stuff like that. We're going to make a little brief segment of the show for something kind of fun, just to change it up a little bit. So that's going to be Friday. So looking forward to that. Also, make sure you check out shellshockcbd.com and using code TAXTHATBITCH to save 20% off of the Fallout gummies. The Fallout gummies are right here. Again, these are 15 milligrams of CBD per gummy, and you get 20% off. We're liquidating the rest of our 15 milligrams to make way for our 25 milligram gummies. So those are coming soon. So get 20% off. Code TAXTHATBITCH, one word, shellshockcbd.com. And then tomorrow we'll be announcing the new winner for the $2,000 giveaway for the Shell Shock, reaching out to help families. That'll be announced tomorrow. Thank you for everybody participating in that. Greatly appreciate that, man. Thank you for all the love and support. Again, you can find us on SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube platforms all across. We have them uploaded, and as well as Rumble. You can look us up over there. So again, thanks for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure to share it with your friends. Go leave us a review on the iTunes podcast platform. It helps boost us up in the charts. And again, Josh and I are completely independent. We don't work with anybody. We are decentralized thought, free critical thinkers that we don't fall into any political lines or party. So when the GOP or Turning Point says you guys are being very mean, we just don't fucking care. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, you stay savage, and we'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.